Okay, so we're gonna do a flight here over Gateway Plaza in Woodland Hills. This has been always been aggressive. This is the first Starbucks around 2004 with a employee Garrett while being mobbed to death. It's your transgressions, basically. You want to call it a confession, or hey, this is why we're hunting you to kill you with worldwide groups and okay, so we're gonna do it quick. Now today it looks closer to normal, but there are pairs of two. This is interesting because usually it's extremely aggressive. Um, but there are pairs of twos, I think, um, which makes it easier to see. Okay, so let's. Okay, so just a. What do you call it? Establishing information. The coffee bean over here, um, with an employee named Kevin says you masturbated in the bathroom. How would you know that? And same with an employee here at the Starbucks. Okay, let's start. So this is unusual that the parking lot here is this closer to normal, much closer to normal. But we do have, okay, so 3 whites here. Yesterday this area had all white groupings backwards. Okay, black car backwards here. Blackish gray truck pointing towards each other. Backwards pairs of twos. And let's just, I want to take some time. I'm always rushing these flights because I only have 10 minutes on the battery. And I'm probably going to do a second. 2 whites over here. Look at everything is parked how it should be, how things were before 2011 worldwide. Oh, okay, so backwards here though. We do have a few sort of spread reddish things, which may or may not be. So we have it backwards, and let's be fair. Let's not say everything has to be perfect, right? But this is what things look like worldwide before 2011. However, we probably have white groupings together, but not sure. Okay, so almost every car here is forwards. And if you go in any parking lot right now, you'll see about 40% backwards and pairs groups of whites and all sorts of things. Looks like pairs of whites here. And this entire lot, I'm trying to not rush things here because I'm used to trying to deal with a 10-minute flight time. Okay, now Jamba, always extremely harassed by black people, Jambas. And then I want to note how we're starting to see a pattern of backwards by the Jamba. Okay, over here. Pairs of twos. They're not together, but they're sort of grouping, right? Okay, let's sort of come down here. And what do we have? White car backwards here by himself, so you can't really read it. And black car backwards here. Possible 2 whites there by the Petco on the right. Another white car. They're all spread. They're not together, so they're hard to read. They're sort of, I'll call them Miranda, but you really know they're directed. 80% are directed at Kevin Perlman. So how do you know who specifically? Good news, everyone. This Starbucks went out of business. And this was the first Starbucks I started going to and saying I'm going to start going to coffee shops. And boom, you're not allowed at any coffee shop worldwide. Garrett, it's your transgressions. I'm just trying to figure out 67 on the battery. I might do another battery. We have something over here. Pairs of twos maybe backwards. Let's see. Oh, these are all closer to normal, which is rare. And then we have pairs of twos backwards here. Now they might be together, but I'm not sure. And we have a pickup sort of backwards here. And let's check out the back here. Now if I drive through, they'll see me and they'll say, "There's Kevin." This is the Gateway Plaza in Woodland Hills, but it doesn't matter where it is. There's Kevin. Start doing these things that the world's been given. Okay, does that make sense? So, and it's not just cars. It's verbal harassments, and most of these are ironically forwards. He is backwards. A little security building here. He is backwards by the security building, and then usually they sort of park by the edge here, like when I get off the freeway or come out of the canyon. They wait with lights on, things like that. And Cryptic, and say with the park, they do the same routine over and over, years, for the last 20 years, all surprisingly forwards. And this is how things were. 2011. Now let's go as the battery's starting to 2011, Encino Starbucks. I parked backwards once. I watched the tactics slowly, especially with black people waiting for me in cars and things like that, angry at me for whatever reason, because I kissed a black girl at 8 years old, but they're going to try to cover it up. Okay, so 3 whites here, these 2 blacks. Oh, the van, the thingy. Oh, look. Okay, so now I want you to see these 2 blacks. This one wasn't there. He arrived. He saw that one. I'm parked backwards. This one here left. You can see what's going on. So if you were to sit here for 5 hours, you would see the groupings and the patterns and the... Okay, 2 whites there. 2 whites there as the battery... Oh, we still got a good battery. 2 whites here, I think. 2 whites there. So now let's finish this side. And we might do another battery because it's rare I see any parking lot, especially this one where it sort of starts with Encino Starbucks, because this is where I own my house. And I have to get food, and they get mad. I mean, we got all sorts of shit on video. We got assault and batteries by security guards, not just John Paul Naranjo, but the one from the Ralphs over here. And that's what these arrests are really about. Set up some frame jobs to cover up each and every 100 million things. 2 whites here that maybe, by the door here. And then still most of these are oddly closer to normal. And that will change. Okay, so they'll see me. Now let's look at the more obvious things. Okay? 40% on battery. 2 reds. Why did they choose to be together? Okay. And we could do this. I could do this all day worldwide. And it's directed at someone, and we know who it's directed at. The world knows who it's directed at. And when I drove through here, okay, one more thing. 2 whites here. Yeah, I see low battery. Okay, 2 whites here, backwards. Okay, so in a lot that is predominantly back to normal. Pairs of 2s, pairs of 2s. I'll say 2 white there with black tops. Maybe not. And then as we get by this, okay, black top backwards by himself, white, 2 whites. Oh, white in the corner here backwards, and this white with a black top backwards, sort of, and then sort of more another white here trying to do groups of whites. So that's what I was sort of explaining on the other side. That's what they were doing last night. And this is by the coffee bean that also claims that I masturbated in the bathroom. So, wow, 2 in a row. Were they in the bathroom? Do they have spy cameras in the bathroom? No. Pairs of, even if they did, that'd be illegal. So, 2 pairs of 2s backwards here as we get close. That's how things start. You don't go to coffee shops. So, 2 pairs of 2s right there, backwards. And because everything's closer to normal, you can see it better, if that makes sense. Because it's not mixed in a nightmare of things. Let's get back here. The battery is low. Well, we can get an aerial. So I want to do another battery here. I'm thinking wait 20 minutes and see what they do. So we can kind of see some white groupings here. Oh, we got to get back. From the altitude and go, okay, right, I see what's going on. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is do another flight, but kind of do the area, and then maybe head back on the return over this shop at the Gateway Plaza here, and just scope out the area around here, and see what we see. And remember, normally it's everywhere, but it's really hard to do with 10-minute flight times, right? Okay, and I'm going to just call things out, which, you know, could or could not be. Example, this white car backwards with this black car backwards. Remember that when cars are parking backwards, you're exerting a lot more energy parking. Black car backwards there. And, okay. So I'm just trying to figure out where to go here, so we did over here. We did the Gateway Plaza over here. I want to hopefully have enough battery power on the way back. Let's go up this way. We're going to go, there's another, I don't know if I can make it this distance, but there's another Starbucks here, and this is, we had more sort of threats right before they ramp up, before the 2023 arrests, and this area was really aggressive. Two whites. Okay, this is interesting. I don't even know what this is. Two whites backwards and two reds together. I can't see if the reds are forwards or backwards. So there you go. This is by where Woodland Hills camera was, the whistling tactic. What was that black actor in the Green Mile or whatever, the big black guy that died? Came in behind me. I don't know if he followed me or came in behind me and harassing me. Okay, I'll call it karma. Can we make it to the Bidumits? Surprisingly, it doesn't look too bad. This is interesting, some random side street, I don't know what it is. Two reds together. I'm keeping my altitude because of the signal. And where's Dumets? God, it's farther than I thought. I don't think we can make it. Okay. And surprisingly, this area isn't too bad. Okay, so we're getting low here on signal, so, and we're not seeing a lot, so I think that intersection up there, which is a ways, so fuck it. Okay, pointless. Okay, ooh, and we're getting a little drop here on the video feed. Okay, so let's head back. This is Topanga Canyon. And we can kind of scope some side streets a little on the way back. And surprisingly, I don't see too much. I was doing this out sort of other areas and it was blatantly obvious, like groups of whites. But this is kind of harder because of the trees and the... but this right here, it's kind of obvious, right? With the two reds and the... Two reds and then... Okay, this. Okay, so the two reds. I'm still low on the signal. And then surprisingly, they're not doing it so aggressive. But remember, it fluctuates. So, when these streets are emptied out like this, it's easier to see. Because if we were to see two reds right here, you would say, oh, well, you know, they could park anywhere. Why did they choose to... Now we're starting to get low, so I want to sort of fly over where we originally... the Gateway Plaza. And see what... Remember that you can't just drive through. You gotta sort of go, okay, you know, let's watch the human behavior here of these angry people. And I'll just note the yellow car that showed up, and I'm going to note the 2 reds. And that's important. And it's been a total of 20 minutes tops. So what does that tell you? Okay, and then I could sit here all day night for years and just get these things all day. Okay, 2 whites here. And you know, some of them aren't. Some of them are the coincidence versus intentional coincidences. Okay, we're seeing what appears on the surface to be groups of reds that could or might be flooding in, and what happens is they sort of follow me around. I'm guessing they text each other through text. Okay, 2 white here, and then 2 whites here. We're still mostly forwards. They like to congregate by the doors backwards. 2 whites here, park their cars backwards by the doors. 2 more reds. So, Kevin, how did you know that? Okay, because they do it all day. 2 reds here. Okay, so their reds are congregating, flooding in. And is this Kevin's in this area, or is it, well, just do it everywhere worldwide, or both? It's both, actually. Okay, so this black car backwards with that, I don't know if that changed. And there's a 3rd now over here. So he's seeing them do that, and they're saying, do this, copy, mimic this, 2 whites here, mimic this, mimic that. We're getting low on battery. 2 pairs of 2s backwards here. In case Kevin leaves his house. Okay, you get it? So if Kevin leaves his house, we don't want Kevin leaving his house. His house is a cage because we don't like him, because he's committed horrible crimes like kissing black girls when he's 8 years old. I think 2 whites there. I'm fighting a battery that's about to... this guy's new. He's backwards. The battery's getting low. We originally did these 2 reds here. Still way closer to normal than it usually is. But you're seeing some people arrive, and what are they doing? They're choosing to park in groupings or pairs of 2s or more. The 2 whites, we already did those. I'll note this black one. No, never mind. 29, okay. 2 whites here, and then we earlier had this white backwards with a white in this corner where this blue one was. And I'll note this red truck that I don't think was here. And it looks like we have a lot more reds. Okay, this white here, and battery's starting to black pickup backwards here by the edge. And look, a lot more reds. Okay, look at the red pickup here. This red backwards, these 2 reds. And this is the coffee bean. We don't want you going to coffee shops. Lies, you masturbate in the bathroom. Okay, well, how would you know that? Okay, let's head back. And I would have to compare the amount of reds from 20 minutes ago. Okay, we got to go back. To compare, to see what changed. 2 pickups here spread backwards, could be work vehicles. 2 white cars backwards here and a black car backwards there, and we're really low, so let's land. Okay, so it is about 4:25 p.m. We're going to do a 3rd flight here over the Gateway Plaza, and we saw progression there. I'm going to say about 95% normal, and then it went down about, let's say, 80%. We started it appeared. I'll say it appeared. Red cars starting to flood in, and we saw the groupings: 2 reds here, 2 reds there, making things obvious. And it's been about 30 minutes. So the original flight, I think, was around the first 2 flights were about 3:20, starting around 3:20 to 4. I think I left around 4, or I stopped flying around 4. I just want to note, when they see me, they instantly park backwards. So, and then remember we did this, and there was 1 backwards, now there's 2 black backwards. Also, just for the fuck of it, point out these 2 blues, these 2 blacks backwards together, pairs of 2s. But let's sort of go here, because we have a reference point right before it gets dark here. How things started when I arrived, and 20 minutes later, and then now it's been 2 flights, then 4 p.m. Now it's about 4:30, and I wanted to sort of pad it a little bit longer and come back or take another flight and see what things look like 30 minutes later. I mean, technically, waiting an hour would probably be better, but let's just see what they're doing. And surprisingly, everything still looks closer to normal. Almost like it snapped back, like the reds flooded in, and then... But this area is more aggressive, slightly. Okay, this area we had 1 backwards, I think. Now we have 4 backwards, 3 groupings, and then this one by himself. Possible groups of whites getting together, just forwards. This area had all forwards. Do we have 1 or 2 backwards here? 2 backwards, right? No, 1 backwards. We had the red groupings, which look like, let's see if they sort of are less. There's still some spread red. Well, 1, 2. They're sort of spread a little everywhere, but not together, right? But not. Still mostly forwards, but that's good because it's easier to read. 2 whites here, 2 more whites here. It's easier to read when we see example 2 backwards together, right? We had earlier, we had the backwards coming by the jamba here. We had pairs of 2s, a little spread. Okay, we have a white backwards here, and then the types of things you'll see is someone will come in with a white car and will park backwards next to that white car, pairs of 2s backwards. Okay, and it's directed at me, Kevin Perlman. With Anita Perlman saying weird things like, you have a problem too. Okay, perfect example here with this red car coming in, and he chooses. Now, there's not a lot of spots available, but still. And then this area, I remember we had those black groupings that all were rotating backwards. Now we have 2 whites, correct? So, this white one with this white one, we had the exponentially increasing black ones, and then now they're whites, correct? Because they'll leave, the white car will show up, he'll park backwards, and then this guy will see that white car and he'll say, I'm going to park backwards like him, because when Kevin Perlman leaves his house, we don't want him leaving a cage, because we hate him because he kissed a black girl at 8 years old, or whatever 100,000 things that the Perlman family are saying, giving out worldwide on their propaganda. 2 whites together, backwards, okay, and just a bluish thing here by himself, and you'll probably see a blue get together, park backwards with him, 2 whites here forwards, and so that's, when you see that, you see the obvious, like the pairs of 2 backwards together, you see the obviousness of what's going on. And this is rare, so when I'm gonna end up flying over this again, and it's gonna be extremely aggressive. Blue backwards here, next to, see how they're sort of pairing, but they're not together, but they're trying to. These two reds, I think, were together before. Okay, this makes it obvious when things are closer to normal. The two pairs of twos backwards, they're together. And you're seeing that we flew over this area and it was a lot closer to normal, right? But you're seeing, this is the third flight in about an hour, hour and a half, and you're seeing the progression of the ramp-ups or the constant do this in case Kevin Perlman leaves his house. And this is just one of the thousands of tactics. This is with the cars, there's verbal tactics and clothing color tactics, and everything's based on the idea of reference schizophrenia tactics. With the Perlman family going, you have a problem too, but when they say two, it's really about literal suggestive things to sort of make you wonder, like, what the fuck do you mean when you say that? Two whites, sort of kitty corner here. Okay, backwards together. This white too, so you can see how the white groupings are sort of grouping together as newer cars arrive. And you can do this in every parking lot where wide, and it's directed at Kevin Perlman, me, because my family's angry about something at 5 years old. Okay, pairs of twos, whites there. And this is to cure mental illness, according to my family, with their psychotic issues. Okay, I don't know if this guy was here. He's by himself backwards. And then this is where it's going to be more aggressive because we don't want you at coffee shops. I'm going to just note this bluish truck backwards. And this is worldwide coffee shops. See, no relaxing for you nigger is one of the death threats. And this is what happens when you go. It starts normal. Second blue car arriving, parking backwards. And that's the light bluish car backwards. Correct. I'll note the Mustang. Looks like they're in it. Just checking my battery here. Okay, and this is sort of where porn stars like Havana Ginger working with employees and millions probably of porn stars, but as far as that tactic, there's probably been 15 or 20 porn stars that followed me to coffee shops, and millions invading internet privacy, and everyone has an excuse and justification why three whites here together, not backwards. This is one of the whites. It's actually a light bluish backwards, and then so this always by the door here is more aggressive. It's interesting. When they're telling worldwide groups, do this directed to Kevin. These are some of the tactics. Okay. So the two whites. Now we have this black one over here backwards. And then a lot of these we already saw, but I'm just sort of, the battery's starting to get low here. So doing a quick... three whites there together, and 35. Okay, let's just sort of... Okay, this area is a little bit easier to read because now we have two blacks backwards together over here. And I'm getting my battery warning. And so as we fly back, just to solidify, two blue cars forwards. Why did he choose? And there's actually this light blue too, I'll just note. But why did he choose out of all these spots? Look, there's like 1,000 spots available. I'm gonna park by the blue car. Okay, so let's sort of head back here. 29% battery. And from a little bit higher altitude, maybe take a look at the white groupings, like three whites forwards here, or twos or threes. It's kind of hard to see, right? But you can see it, right? Okay, threes, twos, a little hard. But when we get low there, you can really start to, okay, like over here, these two whites to the right, these two white, well, sort of, not really. Obvious here, these two reds over here. Interesting if we look at these sort of bright blues sort of showing up in this area. The backwards one there, and this Jeep here, and some of these are, and some of these aren't, right? So remember, there's probably about 80% intentional coincidences versus the 20% coincidences. So obviously there are coincidences, but the majority, I'll just note two blues, that's pointless, but I'm going to note these two blacks, I already noted, and our battery is low, so. Okay, so we did this flight, I think it was yesterday, and I was on my way home, and I noticed looked a lot more aggressive, so I wanted to do a flight showing the difference, the ramp up, how things go back to normal, and then they bounce back. They sort of get aggressive again. Okay, so this area here, this is the Gateway Plaza, Woodland Hills. This area is actually still predominantly forwards, and then the outer edges are more aggressive. Okay, so okay, white car backwards here. These two forwards both together, white groupings, pairs of twos by the FedEx. This was interesting because we had a Allied Universal backwards white car, and then a second white car backwards, not directly backwards, but trying to sort of match him. And then towards the edge of the row, which they sort of do for a reason, backwards. Okay, black backwards here is sort of to try to lure you or reel you in. They do it worldwide, but in the beginning it wasn't worldwide, so you have to see how things start directed at you and watch it grow like wildfire with unfathomable child rapist Jew hate. Black car, pairs of two, same thing this way. There's a space in between them, or a car, the two blacks here and the two whites around there, other side of the trees. Okay. Gray backwards here, and then the two whites here. Let's sort of go all the way around. See if I only get 10 minutes of flight, so might have to do a second battery. We sort of have pairs of twos here when they could park anywhere. They're not cryptic or anything, but then sort of the white groupings, always like twos and threes in white groups, right? Okay, over here. And then what we're looking for is the obvious ones that say this statistically cannot happen, and it's not even debatable. Okay. And today's been really aggressive, leaving our house with orange trucks and orange cars all following and working together. So, but that's on this other camera here as I'm driving. Okay, now remember, I have to do this daily, minute by minute. There's upwards of 1 billion attacks per day. Finding out in 2001, Mike Huntley, World of Paranoia, Have a Good Life Now. This Cybertruck backwards, this pickup backwards, two whites sort of by themselves backwards. Gray car backwards here, they're not together, so it's sort of hard to really dial in, state it in a way that's blatantly obvious, even though everyone worldwide knows it. Okay, now this area surprisingly is closer to normal forwards. But we still have the groupings of whites, don't we? Let's get down a little lower. We have a backwards here pointing towards this one back. This is a common tactic, by the way. See how this one's pointing backwards towards this one? And then the rest of the lot is a lot closer to normal. So that you can really see it. Okay, but you can't see it if there's 20 of those in this parking lot like that, correct? Okay, groupings of whites, like 2 whites here. This all looks normal. And now by the door here, you're going to start to see closer to backwards. Okay, I don't know why they do the doors, but I think it's just because it's an entry. I think it's because it's an entry point, and they know that when you're going to go get food, this is where you're going to end up going, right? So we saw it starting up in this area yesterday, right here, and it's not starting up. But this is interesting because, so this is right this section by the door here. This is where you get really aggressive. And it's all normal. It's almost all normal. It's like 98% normal, right? And you can apply, let's go to JAMA because they have a problem with me going to JAMA Juice too, like everywhere else worldwide. Guy by this car backwards standing by it. Okay, now, oddly enough, this lot's going to get more aggressive to the right. And on the left here, that lot's more aggressive. But the center section here is how things were worldwide. 2011, before 2011, worldwide, this is what things look like. Now, the big question here is why would how did this parking lot change behaviors? It's not a single person. It's a community of worldwide people. And I wish I had more battery power. I would go deeper into that philosophy of worldwide stalking groups and how they're coordinating. 2 whites here. Also blues. Blues was aggressive leaving the house, so I'm just going to sort of observe blues as the batteries are getting a little low. Okay, backwards here, crooked, white. Backwards here, backwards here. They're not together, but they're sort of clumpy backwards. Does that make sense? He's leaving. He was backwards. It's gray by the door here of the Sprouts. Pairs of 2s. Here's an obvious. Right there, pairs of 2s backwards together. Backwards here. Looks like a Xterra Jeep. I can't really see with the tree. Backwards here. Backwards here. This area is close to normal. I have a gray backwards here. And batteries 38%. Backwards here. Backwards here. Oh, no. Backwards here, red pairs of 2s. Backwards here. Pairs of 2s. What made that center section all park normal? That's the question. Okay, that's the only real question of importance here. There's a line of communication worldwide. Okay, there's a Kill Kevin channel, if that's what you want to call it. Backwards in the corner, gray. Pairs of 2s. Okay, blatantly fucking obvious, just like yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. Red groupings here, pairs of 2s. Yesterday we had red groupings, pairs of 2s over here. And I think we might have had one there and maybe on the other side. I can't remember. Okay. Backwards here we have pairs of 2s backwards here. They're not side by side, but just like the other side. Pairs of 2s. And you can see what's going on. And okay, so as the battery's getting low, let's sort of head back. And so this section I want to mention right here, this section, what made all these people coordinate? Are they mindless drones that are getting messages in their brain and it's making them do it? Or are they communicating? And if so, what's the method? Well, it's going to be across the internet. And what is the internet? It's a way to connect the world together for communication, right? Which they're using as a weapon with the police and government to coordinate attacks to a 5-year-old, or me finding out in 2001, but in 94, Jason Perlman wanted me to see the internet. And I figured, let's fly another battery. We're losing light, and I can't fly anywhere else or anything. So, okay, so the question here is... oh, we could actually... I didn't think about it. Kind of pairs of 2s kind of backwards here, but, you know, that's not definable. Pairs of 2s. Similar pattern here. See the 2 blacks backwards, space, something in between it. Believe it or not, this is the things they do. They instantly worldwide say, now do this, now do that. Directed at Kevin. Pairs of 2s backwards right here. Another by himself there. Corner here, same thing, it's hard to see. These 2 whites backwards, and then a gray in between them forwards. And then we can kind of come back over here. And we'll do this a little faster. But the big question here is, how are they coordinating? Example, the entire point I'm making here is that this center section, why is this... Okay, this is the way the world is right now, right? And the other side there, that's the way the world is. And something is telling the people by the Ralphs at this moment in time, but it'll change tomorrow or next day, whatever, next week, when they get mad. I'll flirt with a girl and they'll get mad and it'll show up backwards pickups. Okay, so that's the type of things that happen. That's how it got worldwide. And you're gonna say, so someone flirted with a girl. Why do you care? Okay, why are you hunting the guy trying to kill him for talking to women or not getting all A's in school, or, you know, whatever, right? For resting his feet on a chair at a coffee shop, okay? Why are you hunting a guy trying to kill him for having emotion and expression and trying to live his life? And okay, so, make him look like a violent, paranoid schizo until he disappears. I'll say it more politically correct. Why is this area... How did these people all know? How did the thought get in their brain? Did I use it through telepathy, or is someone using internet-based tools to say, now do this, now do that? And if they're saying, now park forwards how things were before 2011 worldwide, Then they have the tools to do the opposite. If you see Kevin, whistle at him, which was one of the earlier. Okay, so by the door, after the first light, white car shows up, backwards. It's been total 15 minutes. And then what you're going to see now, just like yesterday, is more white cars. Yep, there you go. Right here. It looks like he's even getting out. Over here. Is there 2 or 3? And then one over here too. And it's hard to keep track of what's what, right? So is there... Okay, so over here, at the same time, so everything was forwards. And then this guy showed up right here, parked backwards by the door. Then the second white car. Now there'll be third white and a fourth white and a fifth white and a sixth white. And then if I were to pull here to get food, the rate of growth would be a lot faster. Okay, the exponential rate of growth of if you see Kevin do these things worldwide would exponentially be a lot faster. To do what? What's the reason? You can't not ask why there's a planet of people doing this directed at someone. There's got to be a reason. 2 whites here, forwards. The reason is to make him look like a violent paranoid schizo, to make him disappear or lock him away, or someone's mad at their 5-year-old. Someone wants their 5-year-old dead. Okay, and that's when this starts. Okay, and there's only 2 people that could be. Okay, Anita Perlman and Ron Perlman. Okay, so we had our 2 reds here, 1 left. And then look how much more aggressive. Spread whites backwards. With that human behavioral whatever, white backwards here. White, where was it? White backwards here. With that human behavior, hey, if you see Kevin do this and do that, you can now see the pattern of behavior of anger and rage directed at Kevin Perlman since he was 5 years old. We hate that fucking Jew. Killed the Jew with the sick family. And, 8 years old. He kissed a black girl. God damn it. This is unacceptable. We have to control his behavior by clubbing him over the head with a lead pipe until he keels over and dies, or putting a shock collar on him like my father does to his dog Rhoda, and shocking him to death, right? Now, guess what? The shockings haven't stopped since I found out my family's mad about whatever they're mad about when I was 5, right? So it's just a way to torture and kill out of hate. Okay, it's your behavior, Mike Huntley, quote unquote. It's your behavior. Well, behavior of trying to leave my house, behavior of dating women, behavior of being social, behavior of going to college, behavior of building cars. I don't know, because it doesn't make sense, right? Okay, pairs of 2s, pairs of 3s back here. But what we do know, this little smart car thing or whatever it is, Fiat, showed up. Where did he choose to park? By the other 2 backwards, correct? Okay, so why, if this is not random, if this is random events, why is this center lot, pairs of 2s getting together there? If this is random events, why is this center section right here? I don't know. They are already there. If this is a random event, how did these people all switch their cars back to normal? Almost all of them. Randomly, it can't. It's not physically possible. There has to be a line of communication to coordinate. Okay? And if we see this white car show up, park backwards, then we see the second, just like yesterday, there were black cars, then white cars. This guy show up, park backwards. When this is all normal, you can see it, and it switched, right? It switched from all normal, and then it once again. Now there's a lot of random too, because hey, everyone try to do this, but if you see Kevin in the local area or whatever, then do that. Okay, so, but you can see it. It's not even disputable unless someone says like that Yuga girl, don't look at his website, he's crazy. And that also applies to physical attacks and girls trying to slice me up with knives and that LAPD won't look at. Because LAPD is paying them. By the way, I just want to note, purple and black is one of their tags. I want to sort of note how the purple and black is parked here. And usually clothing colors. But, okay, so we're starting to get low on battery. And we also see, once again, 3 whites together, 2 whites together. It's what they're doing with the white groupings. And so let's start to head back here. So this area here is, okay, you can see the white groupings, and this area here is closer to 95% now, normal, how things were in 2011, and then you start to see the human behavioral patterns, which aren't normal. They're based on everyone do this, but it's directed at someone because it can't not be. Everyone do this for no reason. No, that's not why they're doing it. Everyone do this directed at Kevin Perlman. And remember that the verbal harassments are undisputable. They'll mimic things off my internet. And today I saw 3 people put their feet on a chair, mad at me for resting my feet on a chair at a Starbucks like 3 weeks ago. So that says everything you need to know. That they're trying to mimic to death out of hate for a 5-year-old Jew, and make him think that it's his fault that they're stalking him.